very brand new chapter and perhaps one of the most important chapters here when we are talking about SAP. Object-oriented programming is the most important thing for any programming language, not only about ABAP or any other thing, but object-oriented programming is the most important thing here. Question is, what is this OOPS concept? Most of you have some programming background, maybe in Java, Python, or any other programming language. So, what is this object-oriented programming? What is this object-oriented programming?
It helps to improve the actions regarding data with heavy traffic, something like that, sir.
How?
Not really sure.
Okay. Any other one? Manish?
Object-oriented programming, which is used to manage the code, or we can to write in a systematic manner.
See, you are saying something, but are you also able to understand what you are saying? All right. Let's say I have one requirement here. I want to store a repeat with me. I will create a variable, correct? Right? What happened? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I under integer, I will create a variable. What if? So here I need a data type integer to create this variable,
Yes.
correct? I want to create or I want to store 100 records from a table. At the runtime, I need an internal table. I will create an internal table. I will need a table type. Table type, or we can use type table of keyword for a structure to do the same, right? So these are some of the things, right? So every programming language will always have some built-in way, built-in technology, built-in things which we will be using creating containers or data object for storage of data. The customers that are there, every customer will have their own custom requirements, correct? If there is any client, definitely they will have their some own custom different kind of requirement, right? Everyone will have their own requirement. Correct me if I am wrong, right? Every human being thinks differently. So every customer that we will have there is a possibility they might have their own requirement. So so every requirement can't be mapped using these given methods or technology or things given standard. That's where your object-oriented programming comes into picture. What it is saying, using object-oriented, first, OOPS stands for Object-Oriented Programming System. OOPS stands for Object-Oriented Programming System. And what it says, OOPS is based on mainly two things. First, class, and the second one, object. These are the main two components any object-oriented programming will have. Concept is going to be the same, only way of using will be different in different programming language. So what is a class? A class is a logical entity. First thing, a class is a blueprint or is a design or blueprint or template which is used for creating user-defined data types. That's what you need to understand. Based on the user requirement, we can create their own data types. We can create their own data types. And once we have the data types, what we can do now then? Using these classes, we will create objects. Object is the physical entity which will take some space in the real world. What is a class? It is a logical entity and it do not takes any space. It's just a data type. It is just a data type. Are you all getting what I'm trying to explain here? I said, are you all getting what I am
Yes,
trying to
sir.
explain here? Correct? The way you explain a thing, it simply explains how deeply you understand that concept. A class is a logical entity, so a class can consist of lots of things. We will see that methods, attributes, function attribute, friends, interfaces, yeah, events, types, etc. Lots of things it will consist a class in SAP basically. So object is also known as instance of the class. Instance of the class. Using the class, we are going to create a object. Object will have access to the properties of the class. Now, when we talk about SAP system, in SAP, there are two types of classes. There are two types of classes. First one, you call it global class. Second one, you call it local class. Global and local. First one is your global class, and the second one that you have is your local class. What is global and local? What is global and local? Anjali?
A global class we can
No,
create
no, no.
using
I didn't ask about classes. I just asked what is global and local.
Global means we can use reuse in different programs or like whenever you want, and local means it is limited to that program particular only.
Yes. So same thing will be applied to the classes also. If something is global in nature, it will be reusable at different places. Local classes, non-reusable in nature. So what actually happens, a global class is defined in the global class pool centrally in the SAP system. SAP system. That is why it is highly reusable in nature and can be reused anywhere throughout the SAP system. A global class pool via SE24 transaction code. A new transaction code is coming into picture for all of you. Via SE24 transaction code, that is why it is reusable in nature. A local class is defined within the scope of ABAP program or function modules within the scope of it. So that is why it is only accessible inside that program. Yeah, inside that program. Now, when we are talking about global classes, you see there are four types of global classes. Four types of global classes in SAP. First one, usual ABAP class. Second one will be your exception class. Third one is your persistence class. And fourth and last one is called unit test class. Unit test class. Unit test class. So here, when I say a usual ABAP class, this is the normal global class which we will be creating normally. And what you see, around 90% of the global classes which we will be creating will be usual ABAP class. Usual ABAP class. That's the thing here. Exception class, by the name itself, it is explaining a class which will be used for defining the custom exceptions. Class which will be used for defining the custom exceptions. That is why it is exception class. Class which will be used for defining custom exceptions. Persistence, so a class which is explicitly created for performing CRUD operations with the database, like create, read, update, and delete. And the last one is your unit test class. So this is a class which is mainly used to test some piece or individual units of code mainly for testing some part of a code, some part of a code from, you can call it a function module or methods of a class, mainly for testing them. So most of the time you are only going to create a usual ABAP class, a usual ABAP class. Exception class will be used for defining custom exceptions. Class which will be used for performing CRUD operations. Class, so which will be used for testing a individual units of code. So from where we are going to create the global classes? SE24 transaction code. Correct. This is how we will be creating them. Then the syntax of a class. Syntax of class in SAP system. So what you basically see here, a class will always start with class, class name, definition, and end class. This is the definition of the class. So here you will define the class. You will define the class. Then there will have the class implementation. So class, class name, implementation, and I will go for end class. We will write the logic for our method in this. This is our class implementation, class, class definition, and class, class implementation. Any questions here? Any questions till now? Or is it okay for everyone? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now there is a
Yes.
very important note for every class when we create it. A note point. Every class, we saw that our object-oriented programming is based on two things, which is class and object. But when I'm talking about a class, every class is also or is mainly based on, or every class mainly contains two things. This is a user-defined data type. So this data type, if it say here, it mainly contains two things. First one is your attributes, and second one is your behavior, or better you call it properties, and second one is behavior. Properties and behavior. So properties are technically called or are called attributes in SAP system, and these attributes are mainly like variables. In a web programming, we have the concept of variables where we store some data. So here also these attributes are mainly like variables which will be used for storing some values. Behavior. Now think in this way. Everybody has their own behavior. Every human being is different in nature, correct? I might be good at something, I might be bad at something. Somebody came to me and he started speaking with me politely. My response will be the same also. But somebody came with me and he started using abusive word with me. So again, my response will be different in this situation, correct? The behavior is called method here, is called method. This contains the logic, custom logic written inside it. So based on the input, this will return the output. Yes. Or you can call it methods are almost similar. Methods looks similar to function modules. Function modules. We will see that later on. That is a behavior where you will be writing logic. Do not call it a behavior in the interview. Always call it a method and call it a attribute in SAP system. Right? So using this classes, object is created. Best example. Let's say I'm opening the Chrome. It's taking some time. Yeah. So here, suppose I'm looking for human structure. See this. This is a human structure, correct? This is a human structure. Let me just bring it, paste it here. So this is the structure. We are the objects of human class. So you can simply say here, for example, we are the objects of human class, which has all the properties of human being or human class. Is it correct or not? Is it correct or not? Do we have all the properties of human class? Yes, we will have 2 hands, we will have 2 legs, right? Now, every human being is different in nature, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right? So you can take the same example. Every object of a class will have their separate existence, separate existence, and they can behave differently. They can behave differently. So now I am going to open my SAP system, and here let's go to SE24. This is a class builder which is used to create a class, and let's create a Z first class 8 to 9 morning. Create it. This is a global class. Once you will pass on create button, it will ask whether it is a class or interface. I will come to interface later on. Right now, let's focus on classes. Go for OK button. Description. So first, global class. First, global class. I will select the usual ABAP class. Suppose I am also marking this final keyword. We will come to this final later on. Right now, let's click on save button. I pass the package, transport request. This is my class section. See, I said every classes can have interfaces, friends, attribute, methods, event types. We will discuss that one by one. First now properties section. What do you see here? If you recall, every database object will have a properties or attribute tab, correct? Which will have the generic information of that particular thing, right? Which will have the generic information of that particular thing. Now let's see this. Click on this icon and go for toggle to source code based. Focus on this. Focus on the syntax, how it is created. Class, class name definition, class name implementation. Is it the same thing I have written here? Is it this? It doesn't matter whether it is globally or locally, but in the backend it is implemented in the same way. What is the keyword used here? What is the keyword used here? Everyone, public. This keyword specifies that this is a global class. When you create a local class, you can't use this public keyword. I'll go back to my form based. Now let's focus on attribute section. Come to this attribute section. I told you what is a attribute. Attribute is nothing but a property, or it is similar to variables using which we can simply store some values, we can store some data, right? So here I can simply pass global variable, let's say ID, and label I'll make it. If you check, three things are there. Attribute. So with this, there comes one important thing, label. So let's focus on attributes. What is the attribute now? So attribute is like a variable which will be used for storing some values. There are three levels of attribute. Attribute, or you can call it three levels or types of attributes, or types of attribute. First one, instance attribute. Second one is static attribute. And the third one is constant attribute. Can anyone explain what is the difference in these three things? Can anyone explain what is the difference in these three things?
Constant means we can, like, if you define one time, that will be the thing only, and if you want to change, you have to again redefine it, otherwise need to change. For static, might be that we cannot change. I'm not sure on instance.
Okay, at least you tried. All right, that's what you need to understand. We just use instance keyword where? In object. So you need to understand when we are using instance word, instance is the object property. Object property. Static is the class property. Very easy way to understand it. Instance attribute. So when we create any object, let's say when we create objects, every time a separate space will be allocated. A separate space will be allocated for each objects for the instance attribute. attribute. That is why the value of the instance attribute can be different for each object. Because that is a separate memory. If you modify it, that will be for that object only. That will be for that object only. Instance attribute is created using data keyword. What keyword? Data keyword. Then a static attribute. So static is a class property. When we create first object, the first object, a memory is allocated for this instance attribute, for this static attribute, and it will be shared by every other object. Only one memory is there for static attribute. So if you are making any changes using one object, that will be seen by other one also. These attributes can only be accessed by using object name. When I'm saying about static one, a static attribute is created by using class data keyword, by using class data keyword. Is it okay? By using class data keyword. So it will be created by using class data keyword. Then static attributes can be accessed by using object name as well as the class name. Object name as well as the class name. Constant. This specify a fixed value which can't be changed, can be accessed by both object and class name. And the third one we can say here, it is declared by using constant keyword. By using constants keyword. So here you can specify anything. Let's say I'm making it static attribute. Right now I will select the visibility here as public only. We will discuss it in the next session. Then it is associated type. So I make it integer, and suppose I'm passing my description first value, or better I'll make it static attribute. I'm writing it here. And initial value, suppose I'm giving 10 for integer. Now I activated the class. So I will check it from the source code, how it looks like. How it looks like. Is it class data? Correct?
Yes.
Right? Is it the same thing which I said? Here I will declare other variables also. Let's say instance attribute. So instant ID I will make it a instance attribute. Instance. Yeah. Can mark the visibility system. Slow. What's the issue here? System is not responding. Give me 1 second, please. Yeah, can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Hello? Yeah. So here, suppose I am making it an instance attribute. I will pass the associated type as integer. Again, a short description here. Instance attribute. And initial value, suppose I'm writing 20. Initial value, suppose I'm writing 20. Right. Third one, I will go for constant. So say I'm writing constant ID. This will be a constant attribute. So I'll select F4 constant. Again, visibility, I'm making it public only. We will discuss that tomorrow. Type integer here. Here, this one also constant attribute. And value, I'm making 30. And I will activate it. Now let's go to source code, how it looks. See, this is nothing but a instance attribute. Instance data keyword. This is my static. And this is constant, correct? Right. So this is the same stuff. Now let's go to program, any program. I'll open SE38 and test program I will open. So using the class name, we can access these properties. I said using the class name, we can access the static one. So class name and say write statement, class name. This is the static keyword. Everyone, please remember, when you are calling a static attribute or method, anything, this will be the symbol which will be used, double arrow. And now press Ctrl plus space. Automatically C system is asking whether you are looking for static one or constant one, because both of them we can access by using the classes. So now if I activate, see, 10. Write statement. Now I'll call the constant one, class name, constant. I can access it. I will activate and I will get 30 output, correct? What if I try to get the access of this one, class name, and if I try to access the instance attribute, can I access it? I will activate and I will check. What's the problem here? Read it. Read it. Everyone, please check. Can we access it?
No,
No, sir.
I think we use the single line.
Right? Because this is a instance one. Using object, we can access it. We can't access it by using classes. So let's see how to create object of a class. How to create object of a class. So if we want to create a object of a class, data keyword, object name, new keyword, class name. So this is my class name, and then opening and closing parenthesis. What it is? It is the object of the class. The object, new keyword, and class name. Now using the object, you can access everything. But when you are talking about object, single arrow is used. See, all these three things object can access. Instance one also. Let's start with the order. Global static one first. Then instance. And then constant. So now if I activate, still some problem here. Oh, sorry, I commented out the constant. I need to comment the instance one. See, we can access all these three things. So if I activate and check 10, 20, 30, I'm getting right. This is how you are going to create object. New keyword, the same thing which you use in Java programming. Earlier, there was a different way to create objects in SAP system, but this is the new way. I'll suggest everyone to go through this new way only. Object name, new keyword, class name, and then opening and closing parenthesis with a space in between. Everyone, is it okay?
Yeah, I have one doubt. Like
Yes.
we have access to the constant and static using the double arrow, but for to access the instance, we have to create first object and then only we can access it. No? Directly we
That's the
can't.
same theoretical part I written,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone, any question for today?